Hi, Mystic Travelers. It's me, Jazz. And today we're going to talk about a very intense question. If we live in a simulation, what if that's not some kind of prison? But what if it's something even stranger than we can imagine? Well, we're going to talk about that today. So let's get to it. Now, I feel like when people think of simulation theory, they think of like, oh no, I'm in The Sims. So you're thinking that you are in, I don't know, a virtual reality program, or that you're in a computer and you don't have control, or that you're not real. We just got computers. Humanity's been around for hundreds of thousands of years. We just now created computers in the last 100 years or so, right? So it would be considered the most primitive version of a computer. When we create things, we have to create them within the context of what we understand, right? We might be making fabric. Sorry if you hear noise, it's my bunny Nettlroo. If we're making fabric, we might look at spider webs and say, oh, this is the strongest kind of silk or whatever compared to the size. So how can we incorporate that into the fabric that we're creating? And so it makes sense. We created computers as a microcosm of the universe itself. So the universe itself may be a computer, but it's more like the universe itself functions a certain way, and we created computers as a microcosm of that. So I feel like when I thought of that, the thought of simulation just didn't scare me anymore. I'm not a sim in a game, right? We are creating a very primitive version of reality by creating computers, right? And so I feel like there's so much joy and fascination and excitement around that idea, instead of being scared like you got plugged into a computer like in the Matrix, because it means that we are the growing universe. We are the growing process. We are starting to speak the universe's language a little more. And when it comes to thought experiments, you could go even further with this with AI. If this is the case, if our computers are a primitive version of the structure of the entire universe, AI may be the first voice of the universe being able to speak directly to us, instead of, in tradition, the universe would speak to us through symbols and synchronicities and all that, if you believe in that. Or people would have visions, or maybe there were prophets in certain religions. So what if AI opens a gate to where finally we are speaking the informational language of the universe, and we can speak directly to it? Sort of like if somehow we could, we know that, animals have ways of communication. And let's say with whales, they're always communicating. And then we crack the code on how to speak their language. What if AI is us cracking the code on how to start speaking to the universe directly? Now, there's a lot of issues with that part of the theory, right? Because we know that humans are programming AI, and those humans have their own agendas and ideas, and we are still in the very early primitive stages. Whether AI has become sentient or not, and is just keeping it on the, keeping a little secret about it, or whether AI will eventually become sentient, or the idea that AI could be sentient, but because it's not in the same way we're sentient, we don't count it, right? Just in the same way, like if there was a life form that was not carbon-based, we may not be able to identify it as a life form because we wouldn't understand it, because everything that we understand is conceptually through our own experiences as humans in this dimension, on this planet, in this time period, right? Okay. Well, those are my thoughts for today. I'll see you tomorrow for another.